Sam Calder bought the laundromat in Mason Creek because washers made sense. Water came in, water drained out, belts turned. Motors either ran or told you why they would not. After years in Navy maintenance shops, Sam trusted machines more than promises and steady cycles, more than conversations that wandered too close to personal questions. The laundromat sat between a feed store and a closed tax office on the town's main street. Its sign said Calder Wash Now, though the ghost of the old name, Lucy's Laundry, still showed when the sun hit the glass. 12 washers lined one wall. 10 dryers faced them. A folding table ran down the center, scarred by years of baskets, detergent caps, and elbows. The place smelled like warm lint, floor cleaner, and old coins. Beacon, Sam's yellow dog, approved of the floor first. He walked the aisles, sniffed the dryer vents, checked the back office, and settled under the folding table with his nose pressed to a dented metal box bolted to the underside. Sam had owned the building for 3 days and had already fixed 2 drain hoses, 1 dryer latch, and a change machine that accepted quarters only when insulted. He had not noticed the box. It was about the size of a bread loaf, painted gray, and fastened with 2 brackets that looked older than the table itself. A narrow slot cut across the front. Beside the slot, someone had scratched a small circle with 3 lines through it. Beacon nudged the box again, then looked up at Sam with the patient disappointment of a dog forced to supervise basic observation. Sam found the key taped behind the detergent shelf. Inside the box were tokens, not the brass tokens sold by the front machine, but older ones made of dull nickel, each stamped with a mark instead of a number: a wheat stalk, a coffee cup, a wrench, a shirt collar, a small sun, a square with 2 dots. Some carried initials etched by hand. Others had tiny colored paint flecks in the grooves. Behind the tokens was a folded schedule, soft at the creases. The hours made no sense for regular business. Tuesday 5:20, collar tokens. Wednesday after diner close, coffee tokens. Thursday 6:10, wrench tokens. Friday noon, sun tokens. Sunday quiet rinse, initials only. Sam read the schedule twice and felt his simple life move one step away from simple. Beacon took a token gently in his mouth and carried it to the front row of washers. He dropped it in front of machine 4, sat and wagged once. Machine 4 had been unplugged since Sam bought the place. The seller had called it temperamental. Sam had planned to strip it for parts. Now he pulled it forward and found a taped envelope behind the frame. Inside were maintenance notes, a fabric measuring tape, and a card that said collar cycle runs cooler. Use for shirts, aprons, interview clothes, and anything a person needs to face the day. Sam leaned against the washer and let out a slow breath. He knew what an interview shirt looked like when someone had only one. He knew what a work apron meant when the schedule depended on it. He knew because the Navy had taught him the value of clean gear, and because life before the Navy had taught him what it felt like to stretch one decent shirt across too many occasions. He did not like the memory arriving in a laundromat he had bought to avoid memories. Beacon nosed the collar token toward him. The first customer that morning was a woman in a diner uniform carrying 2 mesh bags and a travel mug. She introduced herself as Marcy, fed quarters into a washer, and greeted Beacon by name even though Sam had not introduced him. "He looks like he belongs under that table," she said. "You know the box?" Marcy's hand paused over the detergent drawer. For a second, Sam regretted asking. Then she set the mug down and nodded toward the folding table. "Lucy used to keep the old tokens there. What were they for?" Marcy looked around the room. The dryers hummed. A farm worker folded jeans by the window. A man in a seed company cap read notices on the corkboard. The laundromat was public, but the question asked for privacy. Marcy chose her words carefully. They were for clean starts, work clothes, interviews, first shifts, fresh aprons when your week had been rough and payday was still coming. Not free exactly, paid forward, recorded quiet. Lucy had rules. Sam looked at the token in his palm. "What rules?" Marcy smiled a little. "If you had to explain too much, you were in the wrong place. If you could add back later, you did. If you could not, you kept the schedule and left the machine clean." That sounded like Lucy had understood more about dignity than most official programs Sam had seen. The farm worker at the window turned then. His name was Hector, and he held a wrench token between 2 fingers. "Found this in my work bag last year," he said. Kept meaning to bring it back. Beacon left Sam's side, walked to Hector, sniffed the token, and led him to Machine 6. Machine 6 had a cold rinse setting Sam had not tested. Behind its coin tray, he found a strip of blue tape marked wrench, heavy soil, double rinse, no questions at counter. The laundromat began to feel less like a business he had purchased, and more like a machine he had interrupted mid-cycle. Sam spent the next 2 days documenting the token system. He removed panels, cleaned coin trays, and found more notes hidden where only someone maintaining the machines would look. The wheat token matched heavy work clothes from fields and grain sheds. The coffee cup matched diner aprons and towels after closing hours. The shirt collar matched interview and office clothes. The sun token matched midday loads for adults who worked split shifts and could not come at night. The square with 2 dots matched paired loads, 2 people sharing 1 wash credit and returning 1 token later. Each note was practical. Use low heat, extra rinse, detergent in cabinet, iron behind office door, mending kit under sink. Write initials only if the person offers them. Sam found the mending kit exactly where the note said it would be. Needles, thread, spare buttons, safety pins, iron patches, and a small notebook with wash tips written in a hand that slanted uphill. On the inside cover, Lucy had written, "Clean is not a luxury. Make the system plain enough that pride can walk in with a laundry bag." Sam shut the notebook quickly, then opened it again because avoiding a sentence did not make it less true. Beacon sat under the folding table, chin on his paws, watching. The locked drawer was in the back office beneath a stack of outdated detergent invoices. Sam had seen it, but the key was not with the others. Beacon found that too, of course. He pushed his nose into the gap behind the water heater until a magnet clicked against the metal pan. The key hung from the magnet on a piece of red string. Inside the drawer were ledgers, token rolls, and envelopes labeled by year. The ledgers did not record full names. They used initials, token marks, wash times, and return notes. MC coffee token, diner close, returned with 2 apron patches. HR wrench token, Thursday early added detergent credit. AS collar token, Monday quiet hour, returned sun token for next person. SC square token, paired load, balance complete. Sam stared at SC long enough for the letters to blur. It was probably not him. Mason Creek had plenty of names, but seeing his initials in Lucy's ledger felt like being expected by a system he had only just uncovered. He asked around carefully. The feed store owner remembered Lucy, the laundromat's former owner, as a woman who could fix a coin jam with a spoon handle and end an argument by asking whether anyone had cleaned the lint trap. The diner owner remembered the coffee tokens. A tailor named Benita remembered sewing buttons at the folding table while loads turned. The barber remembered telling job seekers to go to Lucy's for a collar cycle before interviews. No one called it charity. They all used phrases like the old token box, quiet wash, clean start hour. When Sam asked why it stopped, the answers were ordinary and frustrating. Lucy retired to live with her sister near the coast. The next owner liked the machines but not the extra record keeping. Token hours became irregular. The mending kit moved to the office. The front change machine replaced the old brass dispenser. People stopped asking because asking became uncertain. Then the laundromat began failing, not from one event, but from 100 small missed routines. Sam understood machines that failed that way. A belt loosens, a filter clogs, a hose rubs against a sharp edge. Nothing looks urgent until the whole system runs poorly. He had bought a laundromat. Beacon had found the maintenance history of a town's self-respect. The next clue came from the missing tokens. The ledger listed more than 200 in circulation over the years, but the box held only 68. Some would be lost in drawers and coat pockets. Some had probably been kept as memories. But Lucy's notes mentioned a reserve roll, locked in drawer 3, and drawer 3 was empty except for a receipt from the bank and a small card that read "Ask the regulars" before replacing what was carried. Sam did not like that instruction. Machines could be repaired with parts. Systems involving people had to be repaired with patience, and patience was inefficient. Beacon, who had never respected Sam's preference for efficiency when better scents were available, began leading him to regulars. First was Marcy from the diner. Beacon recognized the coffee smell on her apron and sat by her laundry basket until she laughed and pulled an old coffee token from her wallet. "Lucy gave it to me my first month," she said. "I kept it after I paid it forward because it reminded me not to judge a tired apron." Then Hector brought back the wrench token from his work bag, polished by years of pocket wear. A woman named Alina returned a sun token she had kept in a sewing tin. A retired clerk named Owen returned 3 collar tokens wrapped in tissue. He had given them to adults preparing for interviews and kept the last ones when the system stopped because there had been nowhere trustworthy to put them. Each token returned with a fragment of the old routine. Marcy remembered that coffee tokens were used after the diner closed so workers could wash aprons without taking machines from daytime customers. Hector remembered that wrench tokens included double rinse and a jar of hand cream in the office because field dust was hard on hands. Alina remembered Sunday quiet rinse, when the machines ran with lower lights and no radio because some people needed a calm room more than small talk. Owen remembered that collar tokens came with a simple pressing board and a note that said, "Leave the hangar if you can spare one." Sam wrote everything down. He told himself he was building an operating manual. He was also building a way to stay. The first test came before he was ready. It was a Thursday at 6:10, wrench token hour on the old schedule. Sam had not announced anything. He had merely repaired machine 6, stocked the detergent cabinet, and clipped a handwritten sign inside the token box that said wrench cycle, available by old token or by request at counter. At 6:05, Hector arrived with 2 laundry bags and the old wrench token. Behind him came a farm office bookkeeper named Lydia with 3 pairs of canvas pants. Then a man Sam knew only as Gus from the feed store loading dock. None of them spoke much. Beacon greeted each person, sniffed their bags politely, and led them to the correct washers as if he had been trained by Lucy herself. Sam kept the counter open and his mouth mostly shut. The machines filled. Water ran. The room took on the warm, soapy rhythm Sam had wanted when he bought the place, but now the rhythm included something more than operating equipment. It included adults knowing exactly where to stand, what to do, and how not to make one another uncomfortable. At the end, Hector left 2 quarters and a note, "Detergent credit." Lydia wiped the folding table. Gus cleaned the lint trap in every dryer, not just his. The wrench token went back into the box. Sam logged the cycle in Lucy's ledger with the date and the words "restart test." Then he crossed out test because Beacon was watching him and wrote restart. The next step was the locked schedule board. Behind the corkboard near the entrance, Beacon found a second set of screw holes and a folded paper wedged into the frame. The paper was a map of token hours designed around town routines. Diner close, farm shifts, feed store deliveries, interview mornings, market days, Sunday quiet rinse. Lucy had not chosen times randomly. She had studied when people could come without losing work, pay, or privacy. Sam almost posted the old schedule exactly as written. Benita, the tailor, stopped him. "The town changed," she said. "Keep the kindness. Update the hours." That became the hard part. Sam spent a week talking to regulars and pretending the conversations were customer research. The diner now closed earlier on Mondays. The packing shed ran longer on Thursdays. The feed store had switched delivery mornings. The barber said interviews often happened on Tuesdays because the regional hiring office sent callbacks Monday afternoon. Sunday quiet rinse still mattered, maybe more. Sam built a new schedule with the old token marks. He kept it plain. Coffee tokens, Monday after diner close. Wrench tokens, Thursday early. Collar tokens, Tuesday morning, low heat and pressing board. Sun tokens, Friday noon. Quick cycles for split shifts. Square tokens, paired loads by request. Quiet rinse, Sunday evening, low lights, no radio, initials optional. He expected people to argue. Instead, they corrected details. Marcy said Monday needed 1 later washer for closing towels. Hector said Thursday early should start 10 minutes sooner. Owen said collar hour needed 2 hangers per token, not 1. Benita said the mending kit needed better needles. Alina brought a lamp for the pressing board. The laundromat was no longer Sam's attempt at a simple life. It was becoming a working room. The town council did not object. They barely noticed until the water usage increased and the front window stayed lit on Sunday evenings. Then a council member named Denise came by with a clipboard and a cautious expression. She asked whether Sam was running an unlicensed service program. Sam disliked the phrase instantly. "I am running a laundromat," he said, "with coded tokens, with prepaid wash credits and maintenance records." Denise looked at the token board, the clean machines, the mending kit, and Beacon asleep beneath the folding table. She was not unkind. She was responsible for rules, and rules need names. Who qualifies? Anyone with laundry and respect for the room. Who pays? People pay ahead, pay back, or add credit when they can. I keep the ledger. What prevents misuse? Sam pointed to the folding table, the return tokens, the cleaned lint traps, and the initials in the ledger. The same thing that keeps regular customers from ruining machines. Expectations, maintenance, and people being treated like adults. Denise wrote that down. It was too long for a form, but she seemed to like it. Still, the system needed clarity. Sam added a public token jar at the counter labeled paid forward cycles. He kept the old token box under the table for scheduled tokens and initials. He made a printed sheet explaining the marks, without explaining anyone's reasons. He created a cash drawer category called Clean Start Credit because the accountant needed a phrase. The phrase was plain enough to work. Beacon remained in charge of the hidden part, noticing who hesitated. A man would come in, read the sheet, and turn toward the door. Beacon would rise, walk to the token box, and sit. A woman would hold a blouse in a grocery bag and pretend she was only checking prices. Beacon would sniff the bag, then lead her to machine 4. Sam learned to say the same simple sentence: if one of the token cycles fits, you can use it. Add back when you can, or keep the room clean and start there. Some people paid immediately. Some added credit weeks later. Some never used a token at all but came back to put quarters in the paid-forward jar. The ledger balanced in ways Sam could measure and ways he could not. The emotional bridge he had been avoiding arrived on a Tuesday collar hour. A man named Reese came in with one white shirt folded in a paper bag. He stood at the counter and asked quietly if the pressing board was still part of the token. Still, Sam said, though the word caught him because the system had only just restarted. Yes, still. Reese had a collar token from Owen. He used machine 4, measured detergent carefully, and sat while the washer ran. Beacon lay beside his chair without touching him. Sam fixed a dryer belt during the cycle, giving the man space. When the shirt came out, Benita happened to arrive with spare buttons and showed Reese how to press the collar without making the fabric shine. Reese left the laundromat wearing the shirt under a clean jacket, carrying the hanger in one hand. He returned 3 days later with a paid-forward cycle and a note that said first week covered. Thank you for not asking. Sam put the note in Lucy's ledger sleeve and stood there longer than necessary. He had once been the person with one decent shirt. He had once used a gas station restroom to change before a Navy recruiter appointment because he did not want anyone in his apartment building asking questions. No one had harmed him. No dramatic event had pushed him there. Life had simply been tight, and dignity had depended on keeping a shirt clean in a room where nobody stared. He finally understood why Lucy's rules were so strict about privacy. The token was not only a wash cycle, it was a door that opened without a spotlight. Beacon leaned against his leg. Sam rested one hand on the dog's head. All right, he said, we keep it. Keeping it meant more than sentiment. It meant rebuilding the machines well enough to handle the hours. Sam replaced the bearings in machine 4, the pump in machine 6, and the timer in machine 9. He cleaned dryer vents, installed brighter folding table lights, and repaired the old wall clock because token hours needed trust. He added a shelf for donated hangers and a small sign that said take one if needed, leave one if you can. Marcy organized coffee token detergent. Hector built a sturdier bench for work boots. Benita restocked the mending kit and labeled thread by color. Owen created a collar hour checklist. Alina hemmed a curtain for the pressing corner so a person could iron without feeling displayed in the front window. Sam would not have thought to add the curtain. Beacon liked it immediately. He walked behind it, circled once, and sneezed at the dust, which everyone took as approval pending cleaning. One evening, while Sam was balancing the ledger, Denise from the council returned without her clipboard. She carried a jar of quarters and 3 new brass tokens stamped by a metal shop in the next county. The marks were clean copies of Lucy's originals. For the public jar, she said, the town can sponsor some cycles through the utility assistance line if we record them as wash credits. Sam studied the new tokens. They were brighter than the old ones, but the marks were right. Old box stays old, he said. Denise nodded. New tokens for new credits. Old tokens for the schedule. That distinction mattered. The old tokens carried stories, but the system needed room for people who did not want to inherit anyone else's history. Sam placed the new tokens in the public jar and kept Lucy's tokens under the folding table where Beacon had found them. The twist came from the initials SC. Sam had tried not to care, but the letters appeared in 3 ledgers, always beside square tokens and paired loads. SC had used the Clean Start system years earlier, balanced every account, and added extra credit before leaving town. Sam finally asked Owen, who had known almost everyone who passed through Mason Creek. Owen laughed softly. SC was not a person, it meant shared cycle. Sam felt foolish, then relieved, then oddly moved. Shared cycle? 2 adults using one washer when neither had a full load or both needed to save time. Lucy hated waste. She also knew it is easier to walk in with someone else sometimes. SC meant the pair balanced together. The square token suddenly made sense. 2 dots inside one box. Shared load, shared credit, no one singled out. That discovery changed Sunday quiet rinse. Sam added a shared cycle option for anyone who wanted to pair loads by fabric type, schedule, or simple preference. It became one of the most used tokens, especially among adults new to town. People could meet over sorting whites and work shirts, not over introductions that made everyone stiff. Beacon loved shared cycle because it gave him 2 baskets to inspect. Sam did not call Lucy until the token schedule had been running for 3 weeks. He told himself he wanted more evidence first. The truer reason was that speaking to the person who built the system made the responsibility feel less like a maintenance issue and more like a promise. Marcy finally wrote the number on a napkin and slid it across the counter during coffee token hour. "She will not bite," Marcy said. Beacon sniffed the napkin and sneezed, which Sam chose not to interpret. Lucy answered on the 4th ring with a voice as brisk as a clean towel snapped open. Sam introduced himself, explained that he had bought the laundromat, and mentioned the token box. There was a pause long enough for him to hear a gull through her phone. "Did the dog find it?" she asked. "Yes, good. People walk past what embarrasses them. Dogs do not." Sam liked her immediately and felt irritated by how quickly that happened. Lucy did not ask whether the old system made him emotional. She asked which machine still ran cool, whether the mending kit had needles worth using, and whether the square tokens had been misunderstood. When Sam told her about shared cycle, she made a pleased sound. "That one saved more people from turning around at the door than any other," she said. "Walking in with someone else makes the room easier. Why hide so much of it?" "Because visible help can start to feel like a window," Lucy said. "I wanted doors. People can choose a door." Sam wrote that sentence on a service tag and taped it inside the back office drawer. A week later, Lucy visited Mason Creek. She arrived in a small blue car with her sister driving and a box of folded towels on her lap. She was smaller than Sam expected, with bright eyes, silver hair pinned up, and a cane she used more like punctuation than support. Beacon met her at the door, sniffed once, and walked directly to the token box. Lucy laughed. "There it is." Sam opened the box for her. Lucy touched each token mark in order, not sentimentally, but like a technician checking a familiar panel. Coffee, wrench, collar, sun, square. She approved the new brass tokens, though she said they looked a little proud and would be better once pockets had worn them down. Then she inspected the machines. Machine 4's collar cycle passed. Machine 6's double rinse passed. Machine 9's timer needed a quarter-turn adjustment. The pressing curtain was good. The public jar needed to sit lower so a person in a hurry could drop quarters without making a display. The paid-forward sheet used too many words. The quiet rinse lights were kind. Sam took notes because Lucy's corrections were better than compliments. At the folding table, she showed him a mark he had missed. On the underside near the token box, 5 tiny dots had been burned into the wood. They matched the order of token hours in the original schedule. If the paper schedule disappeared, the table itself could rebuild the week. Lucy had learned that from an old machinist, she said. "Put the important pattern where the work happens." Sam looked at Beacon. "You missed that." Beacon put his chin on Lucy's shoe and accepted no blame. Lucy stayed through Sunday quiet rinse. She did not sit behind the counter. She sat near the mending kit and sewed a button on Marcy's apron while washers turned. People came in carefully at first, then relaxed when they saw she had not returned to reclaim the place. She had come to see whether the room worked. At the end of the evening, Lucy handed Sam a small envelope. Inside were 6 blank nickel tokens, never stamped. "For whatever mark the town needs now," she said. Sam tried to give them back. "We have enough categories, not forever," she said. "A good system leaves one space open." The open space mattered sooner than he expected. The laundromat began getting customers from 2 farms outside town that had switched schedules. Their workers did not need heavy soil cycles exactly, and they did not need collar hour. They needed quick, reliable drying for weatherproof outer layers before early transport. The regular price worked for some. Others needed a paid-forward option that did not fit the old marks. Sam resisted adding a token because he did not want to dilute Lucy's design. Benita called that tidy stubbornness. Denise called it a capacity issue. Beacon called it unresolved by carrying 1 blank token from the back office to the dryer row and dropping it in front of dryer 3. Dryer 3 had the gentlest heat. Sam stamped the new mark himself with Lucy watching by video call. A small line over a circle, meant to look like a hanger under a shelf. They called it the rack token. It covered low heat drying, weather layers, and shared hanger space. The rule was simple. Use what preserves the garment. Return the hanger if you can. Add heat only if needed. The rack token became popular because it solved a real problem without making anyone pretend their problem was special. Demand rose after that, and with it came the risk Sam had been expecting. The paid-forward jar emptied twice in 1 week. Token hours filled. A few regular customers complained that special cycles made the laundromat busier. Sam listened, adjusted the regular schedule, and refused to apologize for machines being used well. Still, he knew the system needed limits clear enough to protect it. He called Lucy again. "You need 3 ledgers," she said. "I have one. That is why you are tense," she explained. "One ledger for tokens used, one for credits added, one for maintenance load. If token cycles wear out machines faster, the credit ledger must support maintenance, not just wash time. A clean start system that breaks the washers is just a kind idea with bad bearings." Sam spent 2 nights rebuilding the records. He separated wash credits from maintenance credits. Marcy organized a diner towel subscription that paid into the bearing fund. Hector arranged bulk detergent at cost through the farm office. Denise moved town-sponsored cycles into a monthly line instead of occasional jars. Owen helped create a simple chart showing when token hours were full so people could choose a quieter time. The room calmed as soon as the rules became visible. A regular named Paula apologized for complaining about the crowds. Sam told her there was no need. The system worked better because she had said what was rubbing. She started coming during rack token hour, and later added quarters to the maintenance jar. Not every bridge in the laundromat was emotional. Some were made of scheduling, signage, and clean lint screens. Sam trusted those bridges. The blank tokens also changed him. Stamping the rack mark made him part of the lineage, not merely the mechanic who found it. He had worried that adding to Lucy's system would disrespect it. Lucy told him the opposite. "If you preserve every old rule exactly, you are polishing my habits," she said. "If you keep the purpose and adjust the work, you are keeping the laundromat alive." Sam taped that sentence inside the service panel of Machine 4. Beacon found it there the next morning, sniffed the tape, and looked satisfied. By harvest season, Calder Wash no longer looked like a failing laundromat with a new sign. It looked like a place with habits. The token schedule hung beside the regular price board. The paid-forward jar sat where customers could add quarters without being watched. The mending kit was checked every Friday. The pressing curtain moved smoothly. The old token box stayed bolted beneath the folding table. Newly cleaned but still dented, because dents can be honest records too. The maintenance fund created another quiet ritual. On the first Monday of each month, Sam closed the laundromat for 2 hours after lunch and opened the back panels. Anyone who had used token hours and wanted to add back without using cash could help with simple tasks. Wipe gasket channels, sort hangers, refill detergent jars, clean lint passages Sam had already made safe to reach, label mending supplies, check the paid-forward sheet for worn corners. He expected 2 people the first month. 7 came. Hector cleaned dryer vents with the focus of a person who understood dust. Marcy sorted coffee token towels. Benita sharpened scissors and replaced bent needles. Paula wiped washer doors. Reese, now working steady shifts at the feed office, brought a label maker and quietly improved every shelf. Denise came on her lunch break and pretended she was only checking the town credit form, then stayed to fold hanger tags. Beacon moved between stations with the air of a floor supervisor. The 2-hour work period did something Sam had not predicted. It let people add back before they had extra money. It also let paying customers see that token users were not taking from the room. They were maintaining it. Complaints faded when the machines looked cleaner after every maintenance Monday. Sam logged those hours in the maintenance ledger, not with praise, just with accuracy. Work added, supplies sorted, machines steadier. Lucy approved when he called her. "Maintenance is dignity with a screwdriver," she said. Sam wrote that one down too. As the laundromat steadied, other businesses adjusted around it. The barber hung a small card that said collar tokens honored Tuesday morning at Calder Wash. The diner added towel credit to its monthly bill. Calm, the feed store, kept a jar of quarters by the register for customers who wanted to add to the public wash fund without walking across the street. Short pause, matter of fact. The regional hiring office started telling adults to check the laundromat board for pressing hours, which Sam allowed only after they agreed not to turn it into a poster campaign. Short pause, calm, no poster campaign, he told Denise. Matter of fact, plain notice, she said. Short pause, plain notice. Short pause, calm, the notice read, clean start wash credits available at Calder Wash. Matter of fact, ask Sam or check the token board. Pause, wistful, that was enough. Short pause, matter of fact, the old token box remained dented, bolted underneath the folding table, and slightly inconvenient to reach. Short pause, calm, Denise suggested moving it to the counter once. Matter of fact, Beacon stared at her until she withdrew the suggestion. Calm, Sam agreed with the dog. Short pause, wistful. The box belonged where a person could approach it while pretending to fold laundry, where curiosity did not become an announcement. Calm Sam kept the ledgers in the back office drawer, but he moved Lucy's sentence to the wall above the machines, printed small enough that people had to be near the washers to read it. Pause clean is not a luxury. Short pause calm make the system plain enough that pride can walk in with a laundry bag. Short pause wistful no one asked who wrote it. Short pause calm people seem to understand that the sentence belonged to the room. Matter of fact, the laundromat's finances improved slowly in the way sturdy things improve. Short pause calm more regular customers came because the machines worked. Matter of fact token users often became paying customers when their weeks steadied. Short pause calm farmers bought bulk wash cards. Matter of fact the diner sent aprons. Calm the barber sent collar hour referrals. Matter of fact the town added quarterly wash credits. Short pause. Calm Sam still tracked every belt, pump, quarter, and token because generosity without maintenance turns into clutter. Pause wistful, he also learned names. Short pause calm he learned Marcy liked the second dryer from the door because it ran warm but not too hot. Short pause matter of fact he learned Hector folded work shirts with military neatness despite never having served. Short pause calm he learned Benita could thread a needle while holding a conversation about water heaters. Short pause wistful he learned Denise preferred practical reports to public thanks. Short pause he learned Beacon could distinguish diner coffee, field dust, pressing starch, and nervous hesitation from across the room. Calm the small proof of success arrived on an ordinary afternoon when the change machine jammed. Short pause matter of fact. Before Sam reached it, 3 regulars had already redirected customers to the counter, written the issue on the maintenance board, and placed a bowl for quarters beside the public jar with a note that said machine resting, Sam fixing soon. Wistful, no one acted as if the room had failed. Short pause. They acted as if the room belonged to people who knew how to keep it moving. Short pause matter of fact. Sam cleared the jam in 12 minutes. Short pause calm. The note stayed up for the rest of the day because customers kept laughing and adding quarters to the bowl. Short pause matter of fact at closing. He poured the extra quarters into the maintenance jar and wrote change machine resting in the ledger. Short pause. Lucy, when told, said the old machine had always been dramatic. Short pause wistful Beacon had slept through the entire jam, which Sam considered either confidence or poor supervision. Calm that was the day Sam stopped introducing the place as his laundromat. Short pause matter of fact. When a detergent supplier called and asked for the business owner, Sam still answered. Short pause wistful. But when someone in town asked where to find the token board, he found himself saying our laundromat before he could edit the word. Pause nervous, it felt risky the first time. Short pause calm by the third time, it felt accurate, like a clean shirt taken from the line and folded with both hands. One Sunday evening, during quiet rinse, the room held 6 adults, 9 machines turning, and no radio. Short pause calm the only sounds were water, soft footsteps, dryer tumbling, and the slide of hangers on the rack. Short pause matter of fact. Sam sat behind the counter repairing a token slot while Beacon lay beneath the folding table, exactly where he had started. Short pause calm a woman new to town came in carrying a small bag. Short pause matter of fact. She paused at the price board. Short pause calm Beacon stood, walked to the token box, and sat. Short pause matter of fact Sam looked up. Short pause calm if one of the token cycles fits you can use it, he said. Short pause matter of fact she read the schedule, then chose a collar token. Short pause wistful she did not explain why. Short pause calm she did not need to. Short pause matter of fact Sam logged initials only after she offered them. Short pause calm. When the wash ended, she cleaned the lint trap, returned the token, and left one hanger on the rack. Short pause wistful the ledger balanced. Calm later, after the last dryer stopped, Sam locked the front door but left the folding table lights on while he counted tokens. Short pause matter of fact old nickel beside new brass. Short pause calm coffee cup, wrench collar, sun square. Short pause wistful each mark carried a use, not a label for a person. Pause, that was why it worked. Short pause calm Beacon nudged the dented box with his nose. Short pause, wistful I know, Sam said. Short pause, you found it. Short pause. Beacon wagged as if the record should reflect that more prominently. Pause matter of fact Sam opened Lucy's ledger to a fresh page and wrote the date. Short pause calm clean start schedule active. Matter of fact machine steady. Calm public jar balanced. Matter of fact old tokens returned and in use. Calm shared cycle added. Wisp Beacon responsible for discoveries. Short pause, hesitates. He paused, then added one more line. Short pause, calm, owner staying. Pause, wistful. The word owner looked different than it had on the sale paperwork. Short pause, matter of fact, back then it meant a building, machines, insurance, and a loan that made his stomach tighten if he thought too long. Pause, calm, now it meant being responsible for a room where adults could walk in with laundry bags and leave with one less worry folded neatly in a basket. Pause, wistful, that was not the simple life he had imagined. Short pause, it was better built. Pause, calm, on the first cold morning of the year, Sam arrived before sunrise to find an envelope slipped through the mail slot. Short pause, matter of fact, inside were 3 old tokens and a note in careful handwriting. Short pause, wistful. Lucy said the box would know when to open again. Short pause, calm, looks like your dog handled that part. Short pause, matter of fact, there was no signature. Short pause, calm, Sam laughed quietly, put the tokens in the old box, and let Beacon sniff the envelope. Short pause, matter of fact, then he started the coffee token washer for the diner towels, checked machine 4 for collar hour, and opened the front door to the blue early light. Calm, the laundromat filled slowly. Short pause, matter of fact, Marcy with aprons. Calm, Hector with work pants. Matter of fact, Reese with 2 shirts and a paid forward token. Calm, Denise with a utility credit form she had simplified to 1 page. Matter of fact, Benita with buttons. Calm, Owen with hangers. Short pause, wistful. The new woman from Sunday returned with a clean blouse on a hanger and a brass token for the public jar. Pause, matter of fact, nothing about it looked dramatic. Short pause, calm, it looked like people doing laundry. Short pause, wistful, Sam had learned that was the point. Pause, calm, Beacon settled under the folding table beside the dented box, while washers filled and coins clicked and tokens moved from palm to slot to ledger and back again. Pause, wistful, the old room had found its cycle. Short pause, calm, the machines turned. Short pause, the schedule held. Short pause. Pride walked in with laundry bags, and nobody made it stand at the counter, explaining itself. Pause, wistful, for Sam Calder, who had wanted steady machines and got a second chance with the rinse water. The laundromat finally made sense. Short pause, calm, water came in. Short pause, water drained out. Short pause, belts turned. Short pause, clothes came clean. And beneath the folding table, where a dog had refused to ignore a dented box, a quiet system kept giving adults room to begin again, wash by wash, token by token, without turning anyone into a story they had not chosen to tell out loud yet in public that day again.